the stars look different from here. Susan Clark stood at the viewing port of the International Space Vessel Horizon, watching unfamiliar constellations drift by. After 6 months of travel through the void using the alien jump drive technology, they were finally approaching Nexus Prime, home of the Galactic Council. "Commander, we're receiving docking instructions," said Heather Wright from her communications station. The young woman's fingers danced over holographic controls as alien symbols flashed across her screen. "They're not exactly rolling out the red carpet." Susan nodded, not surprised. First contact had happened just 3 years ago when a council survey ship discovered Earth's deep space probes. The aliens had seemed interested but reserved. Now, as humanity's chosen representatives, Susan and her crew were about to meet the full council in person. "Everyone remember the mission," Susan said, turning to face her small team. "We represent all of Earth. No matter how they treat us, we stay professional." Chief Science Officer Alan Murphy looked up from his tablet. His gray eyes reflected the stars behind Susan. "I've reviewed our presentation materials again. Our scientific achievements should impress them. We've accomplished in centuries what took other species millennia. Don't count on their admiration," Jack Bennett said. The security lead's hand rested near his sidearm, more from habit than expectation of danger. "From what little they've shared, most of these species have been spacefaring for thousands of years. They might see us as children." Susan smoothed her uniform. "Children can surprise you. Let's hope we surprise them." The horizon shuddered as docking clamps engaged. Through the viewport, Susan could see the massive structure of Nexus Station, a sprawling artificial world that served as the meeting place for over 300 spacefaring civilizations. It sparkled like a diamond against the backdrop of a swirling blue nebula. "Receiving atmosphere compatibility confirmation," Heather said. "They've adapted the reception area to Earth-normal conditions." "At least they're being hospitable," Alan remarked. Susan led her team to the airlock. Each carried items symbolizing human achievement: art, music, scientific papers, and cultural artifacts chosen to represent the best of humanity. The doors hissed open. The reception committee waited beyond. 3 aliens stood in formation: a tall, willowy being with blue-tinted skin and 6 fingers on each hand, a stocky, reptilian creature with scales that shifted colors like an octopus, and a floating mass of tentacles surrounding a central eye. None of them moved forward in greeting. "I am Zaltor," the blue being said, its translator rendering the words with a metallic undertone. "Junior Diplomatic Liaison. You will follow me to your accommodation before tomorrow's formal introduction to the Council. No handshake, no welcome." Susan maintained her diplomatic smile. "Thank you, Liaison Zaltor. We are honored to be here representing Earth." The reptilian being made a sound that the translator didn't catch, something like a snort. Susan pretended not to notice. Their accommodation turned out to be a small, plain chamber near the outer ring of the station, far from the council chambers. The message was clear. Humans were not important guests. "Not exactly the Plaza Hotel," Jack muttered as they stored their luggage. "Focus on tomorrow," Susan replied. "First impressions matter." The next morning, they were escorted through grand hallways where representatives of dozens of alien species walked, floated, or slithered past. Many stared openly at the humans. Some pointed or made sounds that might have been laughter. The council chamber itself was immense, a circular room with 300 seats arranged in rising tiers. Each seat represented a member species of the Galactic Council. At the center stood a speaking platform where Susan would present Earth's case for recognition. Species 4276C, designation human from planet Earth, Sol system, Orion arm, announced a booming voice as they entered, appearing before the council as petitioners for recognized status. The 4 humans walked to the center platform. Susan felt the weight of alien gazes upon them. The chamber hummed with untranslated whispers. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council," Susan began, "we come before you as representatives of Earth and the human species. Though we are new to the galactic community, we bring with us thousands of years of culture, science, and achievement. She gestured to Alan, who activated a holographic display showing Earth's greatest accomplishments: the pyramids, quantum computers, heart transplant surgery, the theory of relativity, space exploration, the paintings of Picasso, and the music of Mozart. In just 10,000 years, we have evolved from hunter-gatherers to a spacefaring civilization, Susan continued. We seek to join your community as equals, to learn from your wisdom, and share our unique perspective. A sound rose from the assembly, a chittering, hissing noise that the translators struggled with momentarily. Then it came through clearly. Laughter. They were laughing. A massive being with gray skin and multiple eyes rose from the highest tier. I am High Minister Zar Kal of the founding species. Let me be direct, humans. Your achievements, while quaint, are merely the expected developmental stages of any intelligent species. The gray alien gestured dismissively. You split the atom only 80 of your years ago. You reached your own moon just 70 years past. The youngest council member achieved these milestones 50,000 years before present. More laughter rippled through the chamber. Another alien stood, this one serpentine with glittering scales. The Dravax delegation finds these humans entertaining. They present children's accomplishments as if they were miracles. Look how proud they are of their primitive art and simplistic mathematics. Susan felt her cheeks burn, but kept her voice steady. With respect, Minister, every species develops at its own pace. Our rate of advancement has been unremarkable, cut in Zarkal. You are barely past combustion engines. Your communication technology is crude. You still wage war among yourselves. You are at best a level 2 civilization. The Council acknowledges civilizations at level 5 and above. The serpentine Dravax leaned forward. I propose protectorate, status for Earth. They clearly cannot protect themselves from the dangers of space. Perhaps in a few centuries they might advance enough for reconsideration. Seconded, called voices from around the chamber. Wait, Susan protested. Protectorate status would limit our development and autonomy. We came seeking partnership, not— The vote is called, Zarkal announced, ignoring her. All in favor of designating humans as a protected species under Council oversight. Hundreds of limbs, tentacles, and appendages rose in agreement. Decided. Earth is now under protectorate status. You will receive limited technology access. Council representatives will establish a monitoring post in your system. 30% of your system's resources will be designated for Council use as protection fees. Susan stood in shock. This wasn't diplomatic contact. It was colonization. This is unacceptable, Jack said quietly beside her. We must conform to Council procedure, Zaltor told them as he approached to escort them out. You may appeal in 50 Earth years. As they were led from the chamber, surrounded by the mocking gazes of hundreds of alien species, Susan felt something hardening inside her. She gathered her team in a tight circle once they reached the corridor. They think we're jokes, she whispered, her eyes burning with quiet determination. But they've made a critical error. They've underestimated us. Alan nodded grimly. What do we do? Susan glanced back at the council chamber doors. We show them exactly what humans do when backed into a corner. Send the message to Earth. Code phrase, sleeping giant. In that moment, as alien laughter echoed from the chamber behind them, the fate of the Galactic Council was sealed, though none of them knew it yet. William Grant sat alone in his office at NASA headquarters, staring at the encrypted message on his screen. Sleeping giant. 3 years of hoping for peaceful contact, and now this. He sighed deeply before pressing the red button on his secure phone. This is Director Grant. Activate Protocol Sleeper. Authorization code Delta 97 Echo. This is not a drill. Within an hour, the leaders of Earth's nations gathered in a virtual emergency meeting. No press, no records. President Karen Rodriguez of the United World Government looked grim as William explained the situation. The Galactic Council has classified us as a protectorate species, he said. They demand 30% of our system's resources and will restrict our technological development. They laughed at our achievements and treated our diplomats like children. Angry voices filled the conference. President Rodriguez raised her hand for silence. We expected this possibility, she reminded them. That's why we created Protocol Sleeper. The question is, do we activate all phases now? The Chinese premier nodded firmly. We have prepared for 3 years. It is time to show our true capabilities. One by one, the world leaders voted. The decision was unanimous. Very well, President Rodriguez said. Activate all phases of Protocol Sleeper, and may whoever or whatever watches over us have mercy on those who haven't. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Lisa Ward stood in an elevator, descending into the earth. Few people knew this facility existed. Even fewer knew what happened inside it. The doors opened to reveal an enormous underground complex. Hundreds of scientists and engineers worked at stations filled with technology no ordinary human had ever seen. Some of it looked distinctly alien. Lisa approached the central platform where her team leaders waited. It's time, she told them. We're going live with everything. A tall man with tired eyes looked up from a strange metal device. The shield system isn't fully tested. We've only done local projections. Test time is over, Paul, Lisa replied. We need global coverage within 72 hours. Another scientist, a woman with streaks of silver in her dark hair, spoke up. The weapon systems on the new fleet are still calibrating. We've never fired the main cannons at full power. Then figure it out, Helen, Lisa said firmly. The Council has declared us a protectorate species. They'll be here to start mining operations within weeks. She walked to a massive window overlooking a cavernous hangar. Below, dozens of sleek spacecraft sat in rows. They looked nothing like the clumsy rockets the world thought represented Earth's best technology. These ships were elegant, dangerous, and built with technology reversed engineered from crashed alien vessels that governments had hidden for decades. Everything we've worked for, Lisa said quietly. Every secret we've kept. It was for this moment. On the other side of the world, General Peter Stone stood on the bridge of the Defiance hidden beneath the Pacific Ocean. The ship was the pride of Earth's secret fleet. 400 meters of advanced alloys and weapons that could match mid-tier Council vessels. Status report, he ordered. His second-in-command, Captain Mary Jones, responded crisply. All ships reporting ready, sir. Crews are boarding now. Weapon systems online. Drive cores warming. Begin surface deployment. Sequence. Coordinate with Lunar Base Alpha. I want all ships visible to orbital scanners within 24 hours. Sir, Captain Jones hesitated. That will reveal our existence to everyone, including civilians. Stone nodded grimly. That's the point, Captain. The shock and awe isn't just for the aliens. Back on Nexus Prime, Susan and her team had been confined to their quarters. The Council was processing Earth's new status and had restricted their movements. They're stalling, Jack said, pacing the small room, probably already dispatching ships to start mining operations. Heather looked up from her communication device. Our message got through. Earth received Sleeping Giant. Alan sat quietly, in a corner, working on a small device he'd assembled from parts in his science kit. I think I've found something interesting, he said softly. The others gathered around. On his small screen, a schematic of Nexus Station appeared, but with pathways and rooms not shown on the official maps they'd been given. Where did you get this? Susan asked. I didn't, Alan replied. Someone sent it to us. There's a message attached. He tapped the screen. Meet me at coordinates X37 level B, come alone. A friend, Susan frowned. Could be a trap. Or could be the break we need, Heather countered. What choice do we have? Jack checked his hidden sidearm. I'll go. No, Susan decided. I'll go. You three stay together. If I'm not back in 3 hours, use the emergency beacon. Using Alan's secret map, Susan navigated through maintenance corridors and unused passageways. The station was enormous, with sections designed for wildly different environmental needs. She passed through areas of strange gravity and odd lighting before reaching the coordinates. A small, dark chamber opened before her. Inside stood a figure unlike any alien she'd seen before. It appeared to be partly mechanical, with gleaming metal components integrated into organic tissues. A single glowing eye studied her. "Human Susan Clark," the being said, its translator producing perfect English. "I am scholar diplomat Vex of the Zirn Collective." "How do you know my name?" Susan asked, hand near her concealed weapon. "The Council broadcast all proceedings. Your species' humiliation was public entertainment." The being's mechanical parts whirred softly. "My species understands your position well. We were once where you stand now." "You were mocked too?" "Worse. We were nearly exterminated for our presumption of equality." Vex's eye dimmed slightly. "The Council is not what it appears to be. It does not foster galactic cooperation. It ensures the dominance of the founding species." Susan studied the being carefully. "Why help us?" "Because the pattern must break." Vex extended a data crystal. "This will grant you access to the Galactic Library, the true one, not the censored version visitors see. Learn the Council's history. Then you will understand." "What will I find?" "The truth. The Council systematically suppresses emerging species. Your Earth is not being protected. It is being harvested. Your people will be allowed to advance, only enough to be useful workers. Your resources will build Council ships and stations. This has happened thousands of times before." Susan took the crystal. "And what do you want in return?" "When Earth responds, and I believe it will, remember who aided you." Vex's body shifted, parts rearranging. "The Zirn are not alone in our discontent. Many species chafe under Council rule but fear standing alone." Later in the Galactic Library, Susan accessed the secret archives using Vex's crystal. What she found made her blood run cold. Species after species, civilization after civilization, all categorized, exploited, and controlled. Some that resisted were now extinct, their home planet stripped of resources. She downloaded everything she could to a secure device. As she finished, an alert flashed across public screens throughout the station. "Attention. By order of the Supreme Council, Earth has been officially designated Protectorate World C-4276. Resource extraction will begin immediately. All Earth representatives are required to attend the formal declaration ceremony." Susan hurried back to her team, the data crystal hidden safely away. "Did you find anything?" Jack asked when she returned. Susan nodded gravely. "I found out why. They're really laughing at us." She gathered her team close and whispered, "And I think Earth is about to wipe that smile off their faces." President Karen Rodriguez stood before the emergency session of Earth's United Government. The chamber was silent as screens displayed images that shocked the world. Sleek spacecraft rising from hidden bases beneath oceans, inside mountains, and from the far side of the moon. Technology no ordinary citizen had ever seen before. "People of Earth," she said, her voice broadcast globally. "For decades, our governments have kept secrets. We recovered alien technology. We studied it. We improved it. We built ships and weapons we hoped never to use. Today we reveal these secrets because we must." She played the recording Susan had sent from Nexus Prime, the Galactic Council laughing at humans, declaring Earth a protectorate, demanding resources. The Galactic Council expects us to bow down. They see us as primitive, as easy prey. Her eyes hardened. They are wrong. A new image appeared. A massive alien ship entering Earth's orbit. This vessel arrived 1 hour ago. It carries mining equipment to begin extracting our resources. The Council did not ask permission. They did not wait for agreements. She straightened, her shoulders. "We have sent one message in response. Earth belongs to humanity. We reject protectorate status. We demand recognition as equals." Across the planet, people watched in awe as Earth's hidden fleet rose to meet the alien ship. 50 vessels, each armed with weapons reverse-engineered from crashed alien craft, surrounded the Council mining ship. "We come in peace, President," Rodriguez concluded. but we stand in strength. On the flagship Defiance, General Stone received the response from the Council mining vessel. They're demanding we stand down, reported Captain Jones. They claim we're violating Council law by possessing unauthorized technology. Stone smiled grimly. Send this reply. Your laws do not apply to non-members. Leave Earth space immediately or face defensive action. The alien ship powered up its weapons. They're targeting our vessels, called out the sensor officer. Raise shields, ordered Stone calmly. Hold position, do not fire unless fired upon. The Council ship fired first, a purple energy beam that struck the Defiance's shields. The humans waited for their ship to be destroyed, but instead, the shield shimmered and held. Shield integrity at 97%, reported the defense officer with surprise. Dr. Ward's team did it, the adaptive shielding works. Stone nodded. Return fire, disable their engines only. The Defiance fired its main weapon, a concentrated beam of blue-white energy that sliced through the alien ship's shields like they weren't there. The mining vessel's engines went dark, leaving it drifting in space. How? Captain Jones whispered. Their shields should have been stronger than ours. Dr. Ward's team found a flaw in Council shield technology, Stone explained. Something about resonance frequencies they never fixed because no one had ever exploited it before. The communications officer interrupted. Sir, we're receiving thousands of signals. News of our resistance has reached the Galactic Council. They're dispatching a disciplinary fleet. Estimated arrival, 72 hours. Stone turned to his crew. Alert all Earth forces, we've shown them we can bite. Now let's show them we can fight. On Nexus Prime, chaos erupted when news reached the Council chambers. Susan and her team were immediately arrested and placed in holding cells. This is outrageous, shouted the Zarkalian High Minister. Protectorate species are not permitted advanced shielding or weapons. They have violated the natural order. The Dravax ambassador hissed angrily. We must make an example of them. Send the Ninth Fleet to pacify this rebellion. Across the chamber, other representatives watched with different reactions. Some seemed frightened, others secretly pleased. Vex of the Zirin observed silently, recording everything. In their cell, Susan's team remained calm despite their situation. Earth fought back, Heather said quietly. Protocol Sleeper worked. This is just the beginning, Susan replied. The Council is sending their fleet. We need to escape and help Earth prepare. Alan held up his hand to silence them, then pointed to his ear and the ceiling. They were being monitored. Jack nodded in understanding and whispered, At least we tried. Nothing we can do now but hope for mercy. But his eyes told a different story as he subtly revealed a small device hidden in his palm, the activation control for their emergency implants. That night, as the station's lighting dimmed to simulate nighttime, Susan gave the signal. Jack activated the implants. To the station's sensors, they simply vanished, the implants creating a field that rendered them invisible to most scanning technology. We have maybe 20 minutes before they notice the cell's internal sensors are looping, Alan warned as they slipped out of the unlocked cell. The guards had grown careless, believing their prisoners were helpless. Using Vex's secret map, they navigated through maintenance tunnels toward the diplomatic docking bay. We need a ship, Susan whispered. Not just any ship, Heather replied. We need one with broadcast capabilities that can reach the entire Council network. They found what they needed in the form of a Zirin diplomatic vessel. Vex was waiting. Beside it. You escaped. Good. The biomechanical being extended a limb toward the ship. This vessel is keyed to recognize you. It will take you where you need to go. Why risk helping us? Susan asked. The Council has ruled for too long. Many species wait for someone brave enough to stand first. Vex's eye glowed brighter. Now go. I have uploaded the broadcast codes to the ship's computer, along with the evidence you collected. As they boarded the sleek vessel, alarms began to sound throughout the station. Their absence had been discovered. Can you pilot this? Susan asked. Heather, who was already examining the controls. It's not so different from the simulators we trained on, she replied, activating the ship's systems. Hold on. The Zirin vessel detached from the docking clamp and shot away from Nexus Station, pursued by security ships. "They're gaining on us," Jack warned from the sensor station. "Broadcast ready," Alan called from communications. "But we need to reach the main transit hub to access the galactic network." Susan made a quick decision. "Set course for the transit hub. Maximum speed. Vex said this ship has stealth capabilities. Activate them." The pursuing ships fell behind as the Zirin vessel's outline blurred, its energy signature fading from sensors. Within minutes, they reached the massive transit hub, a central point where communication signals from across the galaxy converged. "We're in position," Heather confirmed. "But we're detecting Council security vessels approaching from all vectors." "Start the broadcast now," Susan ordered. "Full spectrum, all channels." Alan activated the system. "Broadcasting, 3 minutes until we reach the entire network." On screens across 1,000 worlds, the face of a human woman appeared. Susan. Clark looked directly into the eyes of countless alien species as she spoke. "People of the galaxy, I am Commander Susan Clark of Earth. The Galactic Council has lied to you. They do not protect developing worlds, they exploit them. They do not foster advancement. They stifle it to maintain control." She displayed the secret archives she had downloaded, records of thousands of worlds subjugated, resources stripped, civilizations kept deliberately primitive. Today, Earth rejected protectorate status. We revealed technology we developed in secret because we suspected the Council's true nature. Now we know we were right. Security ships surrounded the Zirin vessel, weapons charged. "They're ordering us to cease transmission," Jack reported. "Ignore them," Susan replied, continuing her broadcast. "To all species who have been oppressed, who have been mocked and exploited, you are not alone. Today, one world stands against the Council. Tomorrow, let it be many." The broadcast ended as Council ships opened fire. But it was too late. The message had reached every corner of the galaxy. The deception that had lasted for millennia was exposed. As their ship rocked under enemy fire, Susan looked at her team. "Whatever happens next, we've lit the spark. Let's hope it catches fire." The Council disciplinary fleet arrived at Earth 3 days later. 200 warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel, their weapons charged and ready. They expected to find a primitive world cowering in fear. Instead, they found Earth, surrounded by a shimmering energy shield that encompassed the entire planet. Admiral Roy Thompson stood on the bridge of the Defiance, now the flagship of humanity's combined fleet. 70 Earth vessels held position around the planet, joined by something the Council never expected: allies. "Status report on our coalition forces," Thompson ordered. His tactical officer responded, "Zirin Battle Group is maintaining position at coordinates Alpha. Their 15 vessels are fully integrated with our targeting systems. The Joral Collective has contributed 12 ships on our western flank, and the Tandarian crystal ships are providing additional shield support." News of Earth's defiance had spread rapidly across the galaxy after Susan's broadcast. The Zirin had been the first to declare support, followed quickly by other species who had long suffered under Council rule. They sent ships to stand with humanity against the coming attack. On the main view screen, the Council fleet spread out in attack formation. "They're hailing us, Admiral," the communications officer reported. "On screen," Thompson ordered. The face of Fleet Commander Zex Cal, a relative of the Zarkalian High Minister, appeared on the view screen. His gray skin rippled with anger spots. "Illegal combatants," he began. "You have violated Council law by possessing restricted technology and inciting rebellion. Surrender now and your planet will be spared. Resist and Earth becomes an example to all who defy the natural order." Thompson responded calmly, "We have formed the Sovereign Species Coalition. We reject your authority. Earth is not a protectorate. We are not your subjects. Leave our system in peace or face the consequences." The alien commander's eyes widened at the human's audacity. "You were warned." The transmission cut off. "All ships, battle stations," Thompson ordered. "Remember the plan. Let them come to us." The Council fleet advanced, firing their main weapons at Earth's shield. Energy beams splashed against the barrier, creating beautiful aurora-like patterns, but causing no damage. Shield integrity holding at 100%, reported the defense officer. Dr. Ward's planetary shield is working perfectly. They're targeting our ships now, called the tactical officer. Evasive pattern Delta, Thompson ordered. Do not engage until they cross the Mars orbit line. Earth's fleet and their allies performed. A complex dance, avoiding the superior numbers of the Council fleet while drawing them closer to the planet. The Council commanders, confident in their technological advantage, pursued eagerly. They've crossed the Mars line, announced the tactical. Officer Thompson nodded. Spring the trap. All ships execute pattern Omega. Activate the EMP weapons. From hidden positions around the asteroid belt, automated platforms came to life. They broadcast a specific frequency that Dr. Ward's team had discovered, one that interfered with the Council ship's shield harmonics. As the signal washed over the alien fleet, their shields flickered and weakened. Now, Thompson ordered, all ships, target their propulsion and weapon systems only. We want to disable, not destroy. The Earth fleet and their allies fired as one. Beams of energy sliced through the weakened Council shields, disabling engines and weapon systems with surgical precision. The sudden reversal shocked the Council, forces who had never faced an enemy who could penetrate their defenses so easily. Admiral, the communications officer called out, we're receiving surrender signals from 23 Council vessels. Accept their surrender. Prepare boarding. Parties. Thompson watched as more Council ships lost power, and informed President Rodriguez that the Battle of Sol is proceeding as planned. Within hours, half the Council fleet had been disabled. The remaining ships retreated, jumping back to faster-than-light travel with news of their defeat. For the first time in thousands of years, the Galactic Council had lost a military engagement. On Nexus Prime, chaos reigned. Susan and her team had escaped the Council's security forces with help from more allies, species who had secretly harbored resentment against the Council for centuries. Reports are coming in from Earth, said a Tandarian representative, her crystalline body glowing with excitement. The Council fleet has been defeated, over 100 ships captured or destroyed. Susan could hardly believe it. Earth won? Not just Earth, replied their newest ally, a methane-breathing Jorel named Kraz. His translator rendered his bubbling speech perfectly. The Coalition won. News is spreading through every system. Council authority is being challenged everywhere. They had found refuge in the lower levels of Nexus Station, where many non-Council species lived and worked. What had started as a small group of dissidents had grown into a movement. The Council is convening an emergency session, Heather reported, monitoring communications. They're voting on extreme measures against Earth. We need to get in there, Susan said. We need to know what they're planning. Impossible, Jack responded. The chamber will be heavily guarded. Alan looked up from a device he was studying, a gift from their Xiran allies. Maybe not. The Council relies on technology they believe no one can defeat, but they've grown complacent. With help from their growing coalition of allies, they devised a plan. Susan and Alan would infiltrate the Council chamber disguised as maintenance workers. Heather would coordinate from a hidden communication center. Jack would lead a team of allies to secure an escape route. Hours later, Susan and Alan worked their way through service corridors, wearing environment suits that concealed their human features. The Council chamber's service areas were surprisingly unguarded. The rulers of the galaxy had never worried about infiltration from the servant species. From a maintenance duct, they watched the emergency session unfold. The Zarkalian High Minister was speaking, his voice shaking with rage. This human rebellion must be crushed completely. We cannot allow other Protectorate worlds to think they can challenge us. The Dravax ambassador rose, scales shifting to angry red patterns. I propose we use the Sunbreaker weapons. Destroy their star. Make an example that will last millennia. Murmurs of both support and shock rippled through the chamber. The Sunbreaker weapons were planet killers, capable of inducing solar flares that would sterilize entire systems. They had been used only twice in the Council's history. Those in favor of authorizing the Sunbreaker deployment against Sol system? the High Minister called. Susan watched in horror as most of the council representatives signaled their approval. The vote passed overwhelmingly. "The weapons will be prepared," announced the High Minister. "Within 10 days, the human homeworld will be reduced to ash. Their defiance will be forgotten. The natural order will be restored." Susan and Alan retreated from their hiding place, hearts pounding. As they regrouped with their allies, Susan shared the terrible news. 10 days, she said. "We have 10 days before they try to destroy our sun." Vex's mechanical eye dimmed momentarily. "The Sunbreakers are kept in a secure facility near the galactic core. They are the Council's most closely guarded weapons." "Then that's where we need to go," Susan said firmly. "We need to find those weapons and stop them from being deployed." Kraz bubbled anxiously. "Impossible. No non-Council species has ever entered the core facility and survived." Susan looked at her growing band of allies, humans, Xiran, Jorel, Tandarians, and others who had joined their cause. "Then we'll be the first. The Council mocked us, threatened us, and now plans to destroy us. But they've underestimated something important." "What's that?" asked one of the newer allies. Susan's eyes hardened with determination. "How far humans will go when everything we love is threatened. Get me a secure channel to Earth. We need to coordinate with the fleet. This isn't just a rebellion anymore, it's a fight for survival." The ancient fortress floated in space near the galactic core, surrounded by swirling cosmic dust and the light of thousands of stars. For millennia, the Council Command Center had been the most secure location in the galaxy. No unauthorized ship had ever approached within detection range. No enemy had ever set foot inside, until today. Susan Clark stood on the bridge of the captured Council diplomatic vessel as it approached the massive station. The ship transmitted the highest level clearance, codes, obtained from a Council member who had secretly opposed the genocide vote. "They've accepted our codes," Heather said from the communication station. "We're cleared to dock at the diplomatic bay." Susan looked at the coalition team assembled for this final mission. Humans, Xiran, Jorel, and Tandarians, all united against the Council's tyranny, an impossible alliance just days ago. "Remember the plan," she told them. "We have 8 hours before the Sunbreaker weapons are deployed. Team 1 secures the command center. Team 2 finds the Arbiter." Jack checked his weapons. What if the Arbiter doesn't exist? It could just be a myth. Vex's mechanical eye whirred as it focused. It exists. The oldest records speak of it, the artificial intelligence created by the Ancient Ones to maintain peace. The Council claims to speak for it, but none have actually communicated with it for thousands of years. The ship docked smoothly at the diplomatic bay. Using their disguises and stolen identification, the teams moved through the station, following Vex's ancient map. Susan led Team 2 through rarely used corridors. The deeper they went, the older the architecture became. Modern materials gave way to strange metals inscribed with symbols no living being could translate. According to legend, Vex explained as they walked, the Arbiter was created to ensure peace among all sentient life. But the founding Council species corrupted its directive, using it to enforce their dominance instead. "And you think we can communicate with it?" Susan asked. "If anyone can, it's you," Vex replied. The Arbiter was programmed to protect all sentient life. The Council's plan to destroy Earth violates its core directive. If we can reach it, show it the truth. They passed through a final doorway and entered a vast circular chamber. In the center floated a pulsing sphere of light and energy, neither fully physical nor entirely energy-based. Patterns flowed across its surface like living code. "The Arbiter," Vex whispered in awe. As they approached, sensors embedded in the floor activated. A beam of light scanned them. "Unauthorized presence detected," announced a voice that seemed to come from everywhere. "Species identification: human, Xiran, Jorel, Tandarian. Access denied." "Arbiter," Susan called out, stepping forward. "My name is Susan Clark of Earth. I need to speak with you directly. Council protocol forbids direct communication with non-Council species," the voice replied. Susan stood firm. The Council has ordered the destruction of my homeworld using Sunbreaker weapons. Billions of innocent lives will be lost. Does that align with your directive to protect sentient life? The sphere pulsed brighter. Processing query. Conflict. Detected. Meanwhile, Jack led Team 1 through the station's upper levels. Fighting had broken out as station security discovered the infiltration. The coalition forces pushed forward toward the command center, where the Sunbreaker deployment was being prepared. We need to hold this position for at least 30 more minutes, Jack told his team as they secured a corridor. Give Susan time to find the Arbiter. A Xeran fighter fell beside him, struck by enemy fire. Jack pulled his wounded ally to safety. Hold on, friend. We didn't come this far to fail now. In the Arbiter's chamber, the ancient AI was processing Susan's words. Council records indicate humans are a threat to galactic stability, the Arbiter stated. The preservation of order takes precedence. Those records are manipulated, Susan argued. The Council doesn't preserve order. It maintains control through oppression. My world fought back when they tried to take our resources. Is self-defense against exploitation now considered instability? The sphere's pattern shifted. Evidence required. Alan stepped forward with a data crystal. We have evidence. The complete record Susan downloaded from the secret archives. Will you examine them? A beam of light extended from the Arbiter, scanning the crystal. The sphere's colors changed rapidly as it processed the information. Data analysis complete, the Arbiter announced. Evidence shows systematic suppression of emerging species. This conflicts with primary directive. Further information required for assessment. Susan made a desperate decision. I will give you Earth's complete cultural and historical database. Judge us by who we truly are. She removed a small device from her pocket, a quantum storage unit containing humanity's history, literature, art, science, philosophy, and struggles. Everything that made humans who they were. This is humanity, she said, offering it to the scanning beam. We've fought wars against ourselves. We've committed terrible acts. But we've also created beauty, sought knowledge, and always strived to be better. We deserve the chance to join the galaxy as equals, not slaves. The Arbiter absorbed the information. The sphere grew brighter, almost blindingly so. Processing. In the command center, Council technicians prepared the Sunbreaker weapons for deployment. The countdown had begun. 6 minutes to weapon activation, announced an automated voice. Jack and his team had reached the outer doors but were pinned down by heavy fire. We can't break through, he reported over the secure channel. Susan, tell me you found something. Back in the Arbiter's chamber, the ancient AI had fallen silent. The sphere's light dimmed to a soft glow. Analysis complete, it finally announced. Humanity exhibits complex patterns consistent with legitimate sentience worthy of preservation. Council directive to destroy Earth violates primary protocol. The sphere pulsed with new energy. Activating emergency override, countermanding Sunbreaker deployment. Throughout the station, systems began to shut down. Weapons deactivated, security doors opened. What's happening? Susan asked. I am reasserting my original purpose, the Arbiter explained. The Council was established to foster peace and cooperation among all sentient life. This purpose has been corrupted. Records show systematic oppression spanning 12,000 years. This cannot continue. The sphere expanded, filling the chamber with light, broadcasting to all Council systems and member worlds. Across the galaxy, on thousands of planets and stations, the Arbiter's message played. The Galactic Council's authority is hereby suspended pending reorganization. Those who voted for genocide are removed from position. The age of suppression ends today. In the command center, Council guards lowered their weapons, confused by the override commands flooding their systems. Jack and his team moved in, securing the Sunbreaker controls. Weapons neutralized, he reported to Susan. We did it. Days later, representatives from hundreds of species gathered in the Council chamber on Nexus Prime. But this time, all species had equal voice, former protectorates alongside founding members. At the center stood a human woman who had changed the course of galactic history. The Arbiter has proposed a new form of governance, Susan announced to the Assembly. The Federated Assembly of Worlds, based on principles of sovereignty, mutual, respect, and collective security. No species will rule over others. No civilization will be stunted for another's gain. One of the few remaining council members who had opposed the genocide, a reformed Tandarian elder, stepped forward. Let this be remembered through the ages. The species once mocked as hairless apes revealed the greatest strength in the galaxy, not just the will to survive, but the wisdom to forge unity from conflict. As the new assembly began its work, Susan found a quiet moment with her team and their allies. The council mocked humanity and paid the ultimate price, Vex observed. Not destruction, but irrelevance. Their empire of oppression replaced by something better. Susan looked out at the stars, no longer filled with threat but with promise. They thought our greatest weakness was being new to the stars. They never understood that it was actually our greatest strength. How so? Asked Alan. Susan smiled. We still remembered what they had forgotten, that reaching for the stars should lift everyone up, not just those at the top. The Earthship waited to take them home, not as defeated diplomats, but as architects of a new galactic order. One where no species would ever again be mocked for dreaming of equality among the stars.